Welcome to Kcse Revision 2020 Paper 1. We start with question number 1. The question was stating that without using a mathematical table or a calculator, evaluate negative 3 into bracket 6 plus negative 2 minus negative 12 divided by 4 plus 5 all over negative 4 times negative 6 plus negative 3 times 5. Now, in this case, even if you must use a calculator, just use with intelligence. That is without showing that in writing that you have used it. For instance, we start with body mass. That is bracket of division, subtraction, addition. So you start with the bracket, like in the numerator. So you can evaluate the numerator separately, and then the denominator separately. Then you combine them later, or you just do all of them at the same time. Now, in this case, you start with the bracket. You can use your calculator and press 6 plus negative 2 and see what you get. 6 plus negative 2 is the same as 6 minus 2, which you get 4. So here we are supposed to write negative 3. The numerator is negative 3. Bracket, this is just like times, or just in brackets 4 times 4. Then we have this negative division. So we have negative 12 divided by 4. You get, so it's minus, it is minus negative 12 divided by 4, it is negative 3. So it's minus minus 3. Minus minus 3, then plus 5. All over. This is bracket of division multiplication. So this times this, negative 4 times negative 6, you get 24 positive. You can use your calculator and press without showing that you have used it. Then plus negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. So you realize that this is the same as, this gives you negative 12. It gives you negative 12. This is same as plus 8 plus 5. So you get negative 12. This is plus 3. Positive 3. This becomes positive 3. Plus 5 is positive 8. So plus 8. All over. This is the same as 24 minus 15. The same as 24 minus 15. So what you get here is negative 4. Negative 12 plus 8. You can use your calculator, but you still get negative 4. So it's the same as negative 4. All over. 24 minus 15, you get 9. So you realize this is the answer. So you got to leave at that level. So you could use a calculator but not sure that you've used it. So that's what you are required to do. Then question number 2. We move to question number 2 and see what you are required to do there. Question number 2 is asking that we express as a mixed fraction that number 5. So what we do, we let x to be equal to, this 5 is recurring, so it is 5.5. 5 is recurring as many times as you can write. So after that, then you'll talk about 10x. If x is that, what about 10x? 10x will be equal to, that is, you multiply this by 10, it will move one decimal there to be 55.55. Remember, point after the point, the rest are the same, 5555, and therefore you can leave at that level, and then you say 10x minus this x minus the x is equal to this 55.55 minus 5.55. So that means if you subtract this one, you use your calculator, you get 9x to be equal to 50. 9x to be equal to 50. So if I divide by 9, I divide by 9 here, I'll get x to be equal to 50 over 9. So 50 over 9, 50 over 9, if you press your calculator 50 over 9, and then you press equal to, it can give you the mixed fraction as 5 and 5 over 9. And 5 over 9. You don't struggle here because you have your calculator. So that is how you have to do this question. It was a very simple question. We move on to question number 3. Question number 3 is talking about, you are also instructed that without using a calculator, without using a calculator or mathematical table, you evaluate this 49. Now this one, you make a blunder. Like you make a blunder like 49. I know if I express in terms of 7, I can write 7 squared. If I make a blunder and they say that it equals to 7 squared, and then I cross maybe the bracket here, I write by 3 over 2, it was being marked 0. The reason you have not shown how you got 7 squared. So because you are not told to use a calculator, that automatically showed that you have used a calculator. What you are supposed to do here, just be bright. Like you can use a calculator and get 49 to be 7 squared, but show it here. Use what we have learned in Form 1. Like 49 here. Think about the numbers. Obviously, I think about 7. So 7 comes here 7 times. Show it somewhere here. And then 7. 7 comes here 1. So we shall have 7 squared. That is 49. So that now I can easily write equals to 7 squared. I cross the bracket because that is 49 itself, 3 power 3 over 2. Then I multiply 256. 256, I'll think of 2, so I can also write my 256 here. 256. Think of 2. 2 to 256 is 128. 2 is 64. 2 is 32. 2 is 16. 2 is 8. 2 comes to 84. 2 comes to 42. And finally 2 comes to 21. So we shall have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is 2 power 8. So you are supposed to show this one. This one must be seen for you to score. So it is 2 power of 8. 2 power of 8. I can have it a bracket. And then I have 3 over 4. I can have separate, that is 2401. I have to think 2401. So I think of the numbers. This is 24. If I have 2401, I think of the numbers that can divide here. So 2401, if I start with 2 cannot divide here, 3 cannot, 4, because 2 cannot, 4 cannot divide, 5, this is a 1, 5 cannot, 6 cannot, because 2 cannot, and even 3 cannot, and therefore 6 cannot. But I think about 7. Think about 7. 7, there is this one, so 7 can. 7 can come here to 343. So just use your calculator, 343. And then, but you show it here. So 7 here, 343, 7 goes there, 49. 49, 7 goes there. 7 goes there 7 times. And then finally 7 goes to 7 1 times. So we shall have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 power 4. So we shall have all over 7 power of 4, 7 power of 4, brackets 3 over 4, 3 over 4. So from there you just simplify this 2 and the 2, then we shall remain with 7 cubed. So remain with 7 cubed times this 4 comes here 2, so 2 times 3 gets 2 power 6. 2 power 6, then all over this 4 and 4 is 7 all over 7 cubed. And remember 7 cubed and 7 cubed can cancel, so my answer becomes 2 power 6, which is the same as 2 power 6, which is the same as 64. So that is how you are to use a calculator, but brightly. So this one must be shown. If these ones are not shown, then you don't score. They must be shown for you to score because you are told without using a mathematical table or calculator. So in such a scenario, you must follow those instructions and do as per the instructions. The next question is question number 4. And the question number 4 is a question that you are supposed to apply what we call the Kcse. That's from one work, you are supposed to apply the Kcse, but it needed your brain, it needed you to think beyond the normal way of doing things. So question number 4 is talking about, the question is talking about a rectangular floor. A rectangular floor of a room measures 5.4 meters long and 4.2 meters wide. The room is covered with square tiles. The room is covered with square tiles. Calculate the minimum number of square tiles that can be used to cover the floor. Now, in this scenario, we are told it's a rectangular room. The rectangular room is 5.4 meter long and 4.2 meter wide. Now what you do, we are told that it is going to be covered by square tiles. Remember, we need square tiles that will cover this, and therefore we calculate the minimum number of square tiles. Minimum, you've added the term minimum, and therefore you think about Kcse. But remember, we need it to cover the whole thing, so we need to know the square, how many square tiles that will cover the length and how many square will cover the width. Then we multiply the two, and therefore what you needed to do here is first of all to find the Kcse. Remember, these are decimals and these are in meters. You can change it to centimeters so that you don't struggle to find the Kcse. That is, you multiply by 100. 100 gives you 420 and it gives you 540, so that you find the Kcse, or just use the decimals the way they are, and therefore we shall have 5.4 and 4.2 I need to find the GCD of the 2 and think of 2. 2 can divide in both. 2 can divide in both to 2.7 and to 2.1. 2 cannot, but 3 can go to both. 3 can go to both. This is 3 can come here to 0.9. That is 0.9, and this comes here 0.7. So we cannot have another number that we can divide this further, and therefore the GCD is what? The GCD, remember 6 is more than 3 times 2, is more than what we know. It is 6 times 0.1, that is to change into 1 decimal place like it was, which gives you 0.6. So if you fail to realize that GCD must be smaller than all these numbers, then you wrongly give a wrong answer, and therefore you change to decimal because you've got a whole number and you are dealing with 1 decimal place, so times 0.1, which gives you 0.6 as the GCD. And therefore if you have the GCD, now the number of minimum, that is number of square tiles, so we get the square tiles in the length and the square tiles in the width, we multiply. But if you just multiply, you find the area and divide by the GCD, you get the wrong answer. And therefore it's supposed to be what will be cover the length, the squares that will go to the length and the squares that will go to the width. You multiply the two. So the number of tiles, the number of tiles will be equal to 5.4 divided by 0.6, then times 4.2 divided by 0.6. And if you do that, you divide in each case and then you multiply, you'll get as 63 tiles. The number of tiles will be 63. So those were the number of tiles. Just multiply using your calculator, you'll find them to be 63. So that is what you are required to do. That's what you are required to do. We move further and do the next question. That is question number 5. Question number 5. Question number 5. It is talking about we simplify. The question is that we simplify these expressions. Here you are to think about factorization method. You are to think of factorization method, and in the factorization method, like here, you are to think here we have the sum, the numerator. If I think of numerator first of all, you can do the numerator separately and the denominator separately. If I do the numerator separate and the denominator separate, so in the numerator I know the sum there, sum is -1. I know the product will be -12. Product will be equal to -12. I think of two factors. So factors, we can have the factors that if I add the 2, if I have -4 plus 3, -4 plus 3 is -1, -4 times 3 is -12. So it is -4 and 3. There, that's -4 and 3. I would replace them with here with -1. I place them there so that I could have numerator to be 2x squared. Now instead of this, I replace with minus 4xy, then plus 3xy, then minus 6y squared. So I factor them out to 2. So I will have this common factor is 2 and x. 2x. into brackets here. Remember, x cancels, we remain with 1x, 2 cancels, so we shall remain with 1x. 1x minus this minus 2 comes here 2 times, x cancels, remains y, so it is 2y. Then plus, I think here is 3, common factor is 3 and y. Into brackets, it must be similar as this, so 3y remains x, minus 3 comes here 2, and the y goes there 2y. So that means we shall have numerator to be 2x plus 3y and you pick 1x minus 2y. That is the numerator. I'll deal with the denominator. I'll deal with the denominator. Denominator, here I can also have the sum. I can also have the sum as -4, product as 4, because this 1 times 4 is product is 4, and therefore the factors here, factors I can have -2, because -2 plus -2 you get -4, -2 times -2 you get 4 positive, so -2, -2, those are the factors, and therefore I replace them here. I will have x squared minus 2xy minus 2xy plus 4y squared. I'll factor the two of them. So if you factor out that, you'll come to, that is the common factor is x here. So you'll get your common factors to be x. We shall have x into x minus 2y, x minus 2y, then minus 2y here, we pick 2y is a common factor, into, remember this negative, we change this to be negative, into x minus 2y. So we shall have x minus 2y into x minus 2y. So now you have numerator. It implies that the whole question will be equal to, this question will become 2. Numerator is 2x plus 3y and x minus 2y all over. Now denominator we have got this 2y, x minus 2y into x minus 2y. These and these can cancel out, so we remain with the answer to be 2x plus 3y all over x minus 2y. That is what you want to simplify and get. So that is how you just do. Just follow the the procedure slowly, and then you get the correct answers as required. If you follow the procedure slowly, you are able to get the answers as required without struggle. But if you complicate the situation, then you get complicated answers. So that is what you're supposed to do. Let us look at we look at our next question. That is question number 6. Question number 6. We look at question number 6. The question is talking about equation of straight lines. Now, the question is reading that the line 2y plus x equals to 1 is perpendicular to a line L. Line L passes through the points 2 and negative 1. L passes through the points 2, negative 1. It passes through the points 2, negative 1. That is L passes through that point. And determine the equation of L in the form y equals to mx plus c. Determine the equation of L in the form y equals to mx plus c, where m and c are constants. So if this equation is perpendicular to L and the L passes through this point, so first of all we need to find the gradient of this equation. So the gradient of this equation, we rearrange it in the form y equals to mx plus c. So rearranging this, that means if I take x the other side, it becomes 2y equals to minus x plus 1. So we divide by 2 so that we get the form y equals to mx plus c. We divide by 2 all through, so that these 2 will cancel, so that y will be equal to minus a half x, or minus a half, yes, call it x, then plus a half. So that means my m1, that is my gradient, in this case my m1, the gradient equals to minus a half, negative a half. And because we are told they are perpendicular, we know that together m2, that is m1 times m2, from what we learned in form 2 is that equals to negative 1. So that means if I bring negative half, m2 times m2, that is, gives me negative 1. So that means I can easily get my m2 by multiplying by the reciprocal of this. So m2 will be equal to negative 1 times the reciprocal of negative half, that is 2 all over negative 1. So negative cancels, so my m2 equals to 2, because this and this will cancel. So we shall get 2 is the gradient of the other equation of the line L. So if the gradient of the line L will be 2, and therefore it implies that 2, I usually write in fraction, 2 over 1 equals 2. We let another point xy to pass on L, so equals 2y minus 1, so it is like plus 1 all over x minus 2, so that we cross multiply. Start with the y, 1 into y plus 1, it will remain as y plus 1, which will be equal to 2, you cross multiply that is 2 into x minus 2. So we shall have y plus 1 will be equal to 2x minus 4. So that we need y equals to mx plus c. So we remain with y here, it becomes y equals 2. You take 1 the other side, it becomes 2x minus 4. Then 1 goes the other side, becomes minus 1. And the minus 4 minus 1 is minus 5. So y equals to 2x minus 5. So that is the equation that was required. The equation that was required. So that is what you were supposed to do. That's what you were supposed to do. Then you continue with the next question. That is question number 7. Question number 7. The question number 7 was also very simple because the question is a Form 1 question on polygons. It's a Form 1 question on polygons, which I've discussed in my previous tutorials. Now the question was talking about it required you to think of the sum of interior angle of a regular polygon is 1260 degrees. You find the size of the exterior angle of a polygon. The size of exterior angle of a polygon. You want to find the size of exterior angle of a polygon, of the polygon. Find the size, the sum of the size of the exterior angle of a polygon. So we need to find the sum of interior because we are given sum of interior is this, and with the formula of finding sum of interior angle, to get the sum of interior angle equals to 2n minus 4 into 90 degrees. You can open this one to be 180 n minus 360. If this is the sum, and we know this will be equal to 12, it will be equal to 1260 that we have, so that we find the number of sides. So that means if I bring 360 this other side, it will be 1260. I bring 360 this other side, it becomes plus 360 equals to 180 n. So if you add the two, it gives you 1620. So this is 1620, which is equal to 180 n. Number of sides, we divide by 180. Just use your calculator and divide the two. You will find n to be equal to 16 divided by, you get 1620 divided by 180, you get n to be 9. So if you have the number of sides, we know that the sum of exterior angle add up to 360. Therefore, each exterior angle, so each exterior angle that we are asked, each exterior angle equals to 360. That is the sum divided by the number of sides, 360 all over n, which will be equal to 360 degrees all over number of sides were 9, and therefore each exterior angle that we are asked here will be equal to 40 degrees. Each exterior angle will be equal to 40 degrees. So that is it. The next question is on question number 8. Question number 8. That is a very simple question. It's a question, simultaneous equation, solving simultaneous equation graphically. It's Form 1 work. Solving simultaneous equations graphically, it's Form 1 work. So you are required to solve it graphically. Now this is a method of having the correct tables. Then you draw the two lines and see where it is intersect, and see where it intersect. If you draw correctly, you'll find that the value of x to be, equal to 3, and the value of y to be equal to 2. Because the only thing you need to do here is to make the table. That is, for this one you make its table, and this one you also make a table, then you draw the two. So that is what is required on this question. Then the next question is question number 9. The next question is question number 9. Question number 9 is talking about given that sine of that is theta plus 30 equals to cos 2 theta, find the value of cos theta plus 40. So the first thing here that you need to do or to understand is to know that here you are dealing with complementary angles, and the complementary angles add up to 90 degrees, and therefore this angle plus this angle 2 theta should be equal to 90, and therefore it implies that because you are dealing with complementary angles, that means theta plus 30 degrees, then plus the 2 theta plus 2 theta equals to 90 degrees, because you are dealing with complementary angles. So if equals to 90 degrees, like terms together, this plus this is 3 theta plus 30 degrees plus 30 degrees equals to 90 degrees. Equals to 90 degrees. You take the 30 the other side, so it remains 3 theta equals to 90 minus 30, which is 60 degrees. So if you take this other side, like I've said, it will be subtracted. That is minus 30 degrees, which gives you 60. You divide by 3, you divide by 3, so that means my theta will be equal to 20 degrees. But that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking to find the cos of theta plus 40. So cos theta plus 40 is the same as cos of cos 20 plus 40. Which is equal to cos 60. Cos 60 degrees. And the cos of 60 equals to 0.5 or a half. So it is equal to 0.5 or a half. So that is what you are required to do. That's what you are required to do in this question. We move to the next question, number 10. We move to the next question, number 10, and see what you are required to do in the question. Question number 10, you are required to question number 10, you are required to, that is in the figure. You can look at that figure. Let me reduce so that you will see it properly. We are told that in the figure below, AB and CD are arcs of two concentric circles that share a center O, and the angle A will be 60. We are told that A to D is equals to B to C equals to 7 centimeter, and we are told that the perimeter of ABCD is 28 and 2/3. We find OA, that is the radius of the inner circle. If we let this OA to be X, if we let OA to be X, and therefore, remember we have the perimeter, so we can have this arc and the length of this arc, the sum of this arc and this arc. That is the length of the AB, this AB and this AB. So the sum of AD, that is sum AB plus DC, the sum of the two is equals to 28 and 2/3, and the 2/3, then minus this 14, because you shall have that 14 already, which gives you 14 and 2/3, 14 and 2/3. And therefore, if that is the length of this and this the sum, we know to get the length of an arc length of an arc equals to theta all over 360, theta all over 360, 2 pi r, 2 pi r. And therefore that means for the sum of the two, that is 14, and the 2/3 will be equal to, the theta is 60 over 360, 60 over 360 is 1 over 6, that is 60 all over 360, this and this 6 comes here, 1 over 6, so we shall have 1 over 6, that is for the inner one, the length of an arc, times 2 pi r, that is times 2 times pi, which is 22 all over 7, times x, that is then plus whatever you get, you add also the other one, that is 1 over 6, because the angle is the same, 1 over 6 times 22 over 7 times x plus 7. The radius will be x plus 7. X plus 7, it will be x plus 7. That is, the radius will be x plus 7 plus so whatever we get here, we add 1 over 6 times 2 times 22 over 7 times radius, which is x plus 7, becomes the new radius. Now it implies that 14 and 2/3 will be equal to this one. If you multiply this, if you multiply the two, you'll get it as just multiply the two, you'll get as 2/3. Just get 2/3. Use your calculator and do it. You get 2/3. That's 44 over 21. You'll get it as 44, because this 44 all over 21x is 42. Okay, this one is 44. This gives you 40 what? 22 over 3. This will be equal to 44 all over 20 all over 42. 44 all over 42, which will give you, this is 44 all over 42, 44 all over 42, which comes to 22 all over 22 all over so 44 over okay, this becomes 44 over 20. Just simplify, it gives you 44 over 21, 21x, just equals to equals to 22 over, okay, that one, if you simplify, this would imply, this one implies, just use your calculator and simplify. 44 over 21 equals to 14 and 2/3 and 2/3 minus 7 and 1/3 and 1/3. So this gives your x to be equal to, just you work out to get your x to be equal to 7 over 2, 7 over 2, which is equal to 3.5. So the radius OA radius would be equal to 3.5 centimeter. Just arrange that and then you get the correct answer as such. So that is what you were required to do in question number 10. It needed some thinking. So that is what you were required to do. Then we move further to next question number 11. Next question number 11, and see what you are required to do. Next question number 11. Next question number 11. Number 11. Using a ruler and a pair of canvas only construct parallelogram. In this question, I can only advise on how to do it. That is, you are supposed to have accurate instruments. It's good that you use original Oxford geometrical set and not the imitated geometrical set that will not give you accurate answers. Otherwise, if you get small mistakes in each and every part of the question, that means by the end, the overall results will be a deviation, a very big deviation, and therefore you will score 0. So I advise that you use the original geometrical set. Otherwise, you will not score. So that is my advice on this question. We move to question number 12. Question number 12 is talking about a Kenyan, that is currency exchange. A Kenyan non-commercial organization received a donation of $200,000. The money was converted into Kenyan shillings in a bank, which buys and sells foreign currencies as follows. It buys by $1 US as 102.40 and sells at 102.50. It also buys the Japanese yen at 92.80 and also sells at 93.30. So if you have now the Kenyan the dollar and you want the Kenyan shillings, so that means if you go to the bank is going to buy from you the dollars. So you use the buying. Can get the amount in Kenyan shillings. So if you use the buying, and therefore we say, because you are using the buying, we say that $1 US, we say that $1 US is 102.40. $1 US equals to 102.40. So what about 200 these shillings? What about 200,000? So it's 200,000 times. So 200,000 will be equal to 200,000 times. So it will be equal to 200,000 times 102.40, and this will give you Kenyan shillings. It will give you Kenyan shillings 20 million 480,000. You just multiply using your calculator, and this is what you are supposed to get. And then the next question, I can do it here, is asking that the non-government organization used 90%. It used 90% of 90% of the donation to buy a machine from Japan. Calculate the cost. So if it used to buy the machine from Japan, first of all, we get 90% of this is how much in Kenyan shillings. So it is 90 out of 100 times 20 million times 20 million 480,000. So this gives you 18 million. That amount was 18 million 432,000. Now that is the amount, the 90% that they used. So we change this to Japanese yen. What you need to know is that in this case, he has the Kenyan shillings, he wants Japanese yen. So if he goes to the bank, the bank will be selling the Japanese yen to him. So we use the selling part here to change to Japanese yen. So we say 100 Japanese yen, 100 Japanese yen is equivalent to 93.30 Kenyan shillings. What about the 18 million? So it is 18 million. It will be equal to 18 million times 100 divided by 9. So it is 18 million 432 then times 100 divided by 93.30, and this will give you, if you multiply using your calculator, it will give you 19,755,000 600 to the nearest Japanese. So 600.01, so it's 627 to the nearest 627 to the nearest Japanese yen. So this is the amount that it was converted to. So that is how you are supposed to do such a question. The only thing you need to remember here is when to use the selling and when to use the buying. So just know that the bank, when you go with foreign, the bank will buy from you. When you go with locals and you want the foreign, the bank will sell to you. So if you understand just that, you are done with this question. We go to the next question, number 13. Number 13 is talking about a chord. So length of a chord, I've done this before, is that I use 2r. Length of a chord is 2r, sine of theta over 2. My theta here is because I need the radius of because this was the circle, center O, and I have a chord here, center O. The angle here is 60, and then I have 7 centimeter here. I need the radius. So if I find the radius, so that I find the area, determine the two correct decimal places, the major segment of the circle, area of the major segment. So major segment is this part, apart from this segment. This is a segment, so I find the area of this major segment here. So area of the major segment, it is area of this sector, the larger sector, plus the area of this triangle. Or you find the area of the circle minus the area of the small segment. The area of this small segment can be you find the area of the sector minus area of triangle, you find the small segment. So whichever route you go, you get the same answer. Now what you do, if I use this formula 2r sine theta, I'll be able to find the radius. So I'll say that 7 equals to 2r sine, that is 60 divided by, that is sine of 30 degrees. 60 divided by 2 sine 30 degrees, sine of 30 degrees. And this says that 7 equals to 2r times a half. Sine of 30 degrees is a half. So 2 and 2 cancels, so my r equals to 7 centimeter. So you have the radius as 7 centimeter. I can now find, I need the area of the measure. So here is 7 and this 7. I can find the area of the major sector. Area of major sector, that is 360 minus 60 is 300 degrees. Area of major sector, so that area of major sector, area of major sector will be equal to 300 now, because it's 60 minus 1 over 360 times 22 over 7 times r squared, that is 49. You calculate this, you get that area of the major sector to be 128 and a third, because 128 and a third centimeter square, or 1.8.33333. So and then from there you find area of triangle, so that you add the two. Area of triangle will be equal to half AB sin theta. So that is a half. A is 7 and B is 7 times 7 times the sine of 60 times sine 60. Just use the calculator and you get your answer to be half AB sin theta. You get your answer to be 21.2176 centimeters square. And therefore area of major segment, that is what I'm asked, the area of major segment, area of major segment is the area of the major sector plus the area of this triangle. Area of major segment, we add the two, will be equal to this one 28.33 plus 21.217. You add the two, you get 149.5, one decimal place. That is one decimal place, as asked. The question was asking one decimal place. So that is how you are supposed to do it. That's what you are supposed to do. And this is how you are supposed to score. You score a mark there for radius, you score a mark for finding the area of the major segment, and there is also other method you could have used. That is, as I said, you can bisect this one, you get 3 point, you use Okatoa, you find the radius, and then you also find the area of the circle, you subtract the area of this smaller segment here, and the smaller segment is area of this sector minus area of this triangle. So whichever route you go, you want to get 149.5. So that is how you do it. We move to the next question. We move to next question, number 14. The next question, number 14. We move to the next question, number 14. Yes. Next question, number 14, is talking about yes, number 14 is talking about number 14 is talking about a vertical electrical pole was erected 6.4 meters from a foot of a circle fencing pole. So if we have a fencing pole here, a fencing pole there, you have a fencing pole here, then you are told we have an electric pole that is 6.4 meter here, and the electric pole is there, and then you are told that the fencing pole is 2 meter high, this one is 2 meter high, and then the angle of elevation of the top of electric pole from the top of the from here, from this top up to the top here, this angle of elevation is so if we the angle here is 30 degrees. Determine the height of the electric pole. The height of the electric pole from here to here is 2. So from here you call it x, for instance. The height will be 2 plus x. So if I use SOHCAHTOA, this is 6.4 again. If I use SOHCAHTOA, I talk about tan of theta opposite or adjacent. So tan of 30 equals to opposite, which is x, or adjacent, which is 6.4. So x equals to 6.4 tan 30. .4 tan 30, you get it to be 3.69 695 meters. And then I'm told to find the height of the electric pole. So the height is 2 plus 3.695 to 1 decimal place. So this gives you 5.695 5.695 to 1 decimal place, just 1, this changes to 7, which is equal to 5.7 meters. That is 1 decimal place. So that is what you were supposed to do here. The question was very simple, 2 marks. The 2 marks, just how you want to score 2 marks, they were very simple. We move to the next question. The next question is question number 15. Question number 15. Question number 15. So the section A of 2020 paper 1 was very simple. If you really followed the instructions. Now the next question 15 is talking about in a 4x400 meter relay competition, a team of athletes each completed their round in 45 seconds, 43 seconds, 45 seconds, and 44 seconds and 45 seconds respectively. If the race started at 1:35 and at 1 seconds p.m., find the time when the team completed the race. So we need to find the time taken. Time taken, we add all these seconds. Time taken, you add 45 seconds. 45 seconds plus 43 plus 44 plus 45, you get it took 177 seconds. If you add all this, you get 177 seconds. So 177 seconds, you change it to minutes, it is 177. If we divide by 60, you divide by 60, because we know 1 minute is 60 seconds. So you divide by 60, you get 2.95. So this means it is 2 minutes. 0.95 is the same as that is 2 minutes plus so that you know how many seconds are there. 2 minutes, it is 0.95. You multiply by 60 to change to the seconds. So this gives you 2 minutes and 57 seconds. 2 minutes and 57 seconds. This gives you 57 seconds. So that means the time it finished, they started at 1:35 and that 1 seconds. So plus 2 and 57 here. So if you add, you get this gives you 8, 89. So 89 minus 60, you get 29. Not 89, but this is 8. 88 minus 60, you get 28. So we shall have 28 seconds. And we also have here 37. You carried 1 minute here to be 7:08. So that 8. So they finished at 1:38 and 28 seconds. So that is the time they finished. That is the finishing time. 1:38 and 28 seconds. 1:38 and 28 seconds. And then the last question of section A. We shall look at the last question of section A. The last question of section A. We look at the last question of section A. The last question of section A. Now, when you look at the figure below shows quadrilateral ABCD, a mirror line M1, M2. Now you're asked to draw quadrilateral ABCD, the image of ABCD, and a reflection of this. Now what you do in this question is that you have to measure. Just have your ruler, measure the distance from here to the mirror line. Just prolong. You just measure up to this. Then prolong with your ruler the same distance from here to wherever it will be. You call it C image. You do the same for this to the mirror line. You measure, you continue, you find it. Let's say it is here. Call it B image. You continue this one. You continue from here to the mirror line. You measure the same distance. Same distance. You find here. You call it A image. Then after that you do your D. So you measure your D from here to the mirror line. You continue with the same distance. You measure the same distance. You call it D image. Then you join. So you join something of this kind. It could look something of the kind. That is if you have drawn correctly, and then finally you realize that this is what we call opposite congruency or indirect congruency. So it's called indirect congruency or opposite congruency. So if you draw correctly, you draw a nice figure. This is what you are likely to do, to find, and that's what you are asked to do. That's what you are supposed to do. Just do it accurately, and then you'll see what it gives you. So that's what you are supposed to do, and then you find that figure. Because you are asked to, the next question is that you state the type of congruency. We have said it's opposite or indirect congruency. So that is what you're supposed to do. And thank you for listening. I'll do section B for my tutorials to listen to what I'll do in section B. Thank you.